Hey Salesforce Hubs, welcome back to Codeforce Chronicles. My name is Shruti, your Salesforce coach and consultant, passionate about building intelligent, scalable, and purposeful code. Today's video was in place with the audio and the visuals because of a reason. The audio is in place with my theoretical evidence, and if you quote it as a virtual image, then I can thank you for the reference. I want my Salesforce hubs to conduct the surveillance on the preference, that is the mechanism, as we all know, that is 500 subscribers. And in case I receive my first pay and I celebrate my mother's birthday, then I'm thankful to all my viewers for conducting a review on me. I want you to comment on my video so that we are in place with today's session. And in case you're happy with the visuals and the comments that I've received, then I want you to support me as a YouTuber. And later, if I am part of an event and I've conducted the surveillance the way you want, then I want to have a session with all of you. So I want you to comment the reasons for a session, that is a question answer session, where I can help you to understand the theoretical methods. Coming to the courses which are available, that is with reference to the context, that is advanced developer and advanced developer. I want you to speak to me, and then we will put all your references and place the subject according to your circumference. If you are interested in LWC, then based on the concept, I can help you with the course and the curriculum. Now, today's episode, the art of reusability, inheritance, interfaces, and architecture, is about the secret ingredient that makes good developers great architects. Inspired by Codeforce's vision and Salesforce India's innovation, we will uncover how reusability transforms code into clarity, because great logic isn't rewritten, it is reused with intention. Let's be honest, every developer has faced this moment. You can copy-paste a piece of code from another class thinking, I'll fix it later. Why reusability matters. But as your system grows, duplication becomes chaos, errors multiply, changes break dependency, and debugging turns into a nightmare. That's why object-oriented programming comes in, not as a buzzword, but as a discipline. Inheritance, interference, interfaces, and abstract classes help you to design one and the logic across multiple areas of relevance. Remember this, the real art of coding is not about how much you write, but how little you need to rewrite. Let's dive into inheritance, the backbone of reusable architecture. In Apex, inheritance lets you extend a base class so that common logic can be shared. And if you have any questions, you can contact me in this number 80500. And I'm a Salesforce consultant and a coach from the past 5.5 years as a reference to Salesforce. When it comes to the reference that I'm going to provide, that is education, which will be in place with theoretical evidence, then place yourself in the medium through which we can understand the place. Now, in case we understand the logic or the I'm going to pronounce it again because it's a network like the issue logic. Then we have to understand that the difference is in place with the theoretical evidence. Now, when we write a piece of code, When we type a code, we should understand that the logic is in place with the reference and help the circumference to understand that the logic is placed with the circumference, that is that the public class is in place with the evidence handler as a reference to the handler class. We have to understand that the public class is in place with the handler. And when we type the preference as an account or a vertebral, then we can understand the formulated log action, that is the placement in this context. Now, if we think about the error, we can understand that the when we are speaking about a topic, we can understand that the logic is in place with the script. And if it is placed as a preference in the vertebral, we will understand that the context is in place with the vertebral and the formulated evidence. Now, if you have added a context in the mechanism, then the inheritance class is in place with the handler. So we have to understand the vertebral. Now we have to understand that the logic is in place, and I'm thinking about the error and the handling and the handler which is in place with the logistics. Now, like we can perform a theoretical formulated evidence, that is the end of file error. When we speak about the errors in the mechanism which we all are following, and if you feel that the placement is in that the placement is for the vertebral, then I want the mechanism to be placed in the evidence and not in the formulated theory, where we write the code and then we execute it with reference to add the log action, but add a word in the account. And we have to understand that the logistic is in place with the evidence. Only if we think about the reference that we are providing as a code and the preference that we have to correct. So when we write the code and if we understand that the code is in place with the end of file error, then we should understand that the with the method and the theoretical factor that we have to have one public method. and we have to place a statement as a proof that the method and the void is in place with another inheritance, which is a preference which we all want to help with. The preference that we can inherit as a property can be inherited only if we write the handler class. Now, when we speak about the reference that we all are providing, and we understand that the code is in place only with the logistic, we should understand when we write the handler class for a log and a reference, we should add a trigger to it. Now, I've handled the piece of code by writing the framework and not the ideology that we all follow. Now, the preference to the context which I'm trying to quote will be in place with all the references that I provide. Now, in case you want to lead a life with inheritance and not inhabitants, then we have to understand that the property is in place with all the reference that we provide. And we should understand that the logistic is in place with all the reference. Architecture with purpose. Reusable code isn't just about inheritance or interfaces, it's about architecture. Think of your code base as a theme. Every class has a role, every method a purpose. Use design patterns like strategy or factory when scaling large automations. When you build for reusability, you build for clarity, and clarity builds confidence. In Apex, that means separating logic from triggers, service layers from handlers, and keeping business logic reusable. Now it's time for a quick exercise. Try creating a class called notification with the method send notification. Then implement two subclasses, email notification and SMS notification. But overriding the base method. Once you test it, comment below on what you learned from refactoring that logic. Remember, each refactor you do teaches you to think like an architect, not a coder. Community and growth. If you found today's episode helpful, share your favorite reusable code pattern in the comments. I'll feature the most innovative idea in next week's episode. Do not forget to follow me for more insights on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. That is Codeforce Chronicles. Before this more than learning. Before this is more than learning, because this more than learning, it's a movement towards intentional coding. To all my developers out there, remember this. Code fades, but architecture endures. Build with reusability, refactor with humility, and share your logic with pride. This is Shruti signing off from Codeforce Chronicles, building intelligence with intention. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue your Salesforce journey with purpose.